Welcome to all our viewers in different places, wherever you are. This is Thuso Khumalo, your correspondent here in Johannesburg. I'm coming to you live from Nasrec, a place in Johannesburg where the first Foreign Ministers G20 meeting is taking place. It's a very busy meeting, packed with a number of programs where the ministers are discussing. But let me just give you who is here in terms of the picture. The background is that South Africa has been given the chance this year to be the chair or the president of this G20, and South Africa is having the very first foreign ministers meeting here in Johannesburg. And of course we know that there are 15 of the member countries are being represented here by their foreign ministers. 4 are being represented by their deputy ministers. But of course the US is represented by somebody, the embassy there, for reasons that were already have been internationally outlined, where the Minister of State there protested against the law or the laws of South Africa, especially when it comes to the land distribution law, and of course some human rights allegations in terms of the treatment of the Afrikaners here in South Africa, and of course the theme for the presidency of South Africa, where they are looking at solidarity, equality, and the US saying it doesn't believe in that theme. But nevertheless, everything beside the point, the meeting started yesterday and today is coming to a close. Ministers getting into different sessions. But to take from what President Ramaphosa said yesterday when he was opening this meeting, he said G20 should take care of all the countries. G20 should be in the forefront in solving the problems that are faced by the world. Why G20? We know that G20 is composed of the very richest countries when it comes to economy, in all aspects, in terms of development, in terms of efficiency. Most of these countries are in G20. And Ramaphosa saying because they've got resources, because they've got the expertise, they are expected to lead in solving the problems that the world is facing. Of course, it touches things like the AI, where you find that in Africa, most countries, they don't have access to internet, saying the G20 countries had a duty to make sure that Africa catches up again when it comes to issues of AI. And of course, the issues of climate change, President Ramaphosa saying these G20 countries, these are the developed countries where a lot of emissions are taking place. And of course, the consequences of that is that we have seen floods and other bad weather elements affecting people as far as Africa here. And Ramaphosa saying those who have got the muscle to pay, let them pay for programs that will curb all those things that are disturbing our climate there, resulting in adverse effects that have affected everyone. But the major thing that's dominating here is, of course, the absence of the United States. The United States is represented, but at a low level, because it's represented by its charge d'affaires at the embassy there. Of course, the minister protesting that is not going to come, but a lot of people and analysts saying, how is this going to play out? We know that after South Africa has handled its presidency at the end of the year, is supposed to hand over the baton to the United States of America. And of course, the United States not being here, other people saying this was a first crucial meeting where the program of the year is laid down, decisions are made on how the South African presidency is going to go going forward. So it was a must that is supposed to be here. But President Ramaphosa, who addressed the media after, but above all, Ramaphosa saying this theme in particular was agreed by the Sherpas, that is those people representing different presidents of the G20. When they met, they approved the theme for South Africa. So saying it is surprising now that one country would say South Africa is doing things willy-nilly, things that are not agreed. But above everything, says is going to make sure that there is talk. So these are some of the talks that are taking place here. But the geopolitical situation has taken almost the better chunk of these meetings. We know that the world is not calm at the moment. There's the war in Ukraine, where Europe is just focused there, as well as the West, America, there to try and end that war. We know the meetings that have gone on and the phone calls that have gone on between the US President Donald Trump and the presidents of those two countries to try and bring peace there. But we still have also the Middle East crisis, where it's shaky there. As far as that peace, that ceasefire is concerned, is still shaky. People not knowing if it will hold for a long time. So they still also talk. That's also on the table to be discussed as to what best can be done to make sure things are settled there in the Middle East. Africa has not been left behind. The agenda of South Africa has also put South Africa on the table. We've got our own problems in DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. That has been put on the table. Just a short while ago, I spoke to the spokesperson of the Department of International Relations, Mr. Piri, who was saying, as South Africa, they still insist that as far as the war in DRC is concerned, there are people there, there are countries that are interfering with things that are happening inside DRC, and saying for us to get peace there, they need those countries to back off so that the Congolese can solve their problems, find one another over the table. We've got, of course, a war in Sudan that has caused a lot of catastrophes, humanitarian situations, and also is on the table. So issues of peace are being discussed here strongly. Issues of economic development, especially for those countries that are still struggling. Ramaphosa also emphasizing that the problem is that the African countries that are wanting to develop their countries, whenever they source finance, they are charged exorbitant interest rates in terms of servicing that debt, while it's the countries that have a surplus, they get special rates for that. Same that should end, so that there is equality, everyone is treated equally across the world. So it's coming to an end today, this meeting, and we expect that by the end of the day there are going to be outcomes as to what has happened. But just to give you a picture of what's happening here, on the other side, on my right here, I'll ask my camera to pan in there. There is the media. Yeah, when there is a media briefing, all this space is occupied. We have members of the media there that are reporting on this. I think I can say hundreds of them are here from different countries and different places and different media houses, just trying to tell the story of this G20. Then over there, of course, it's about lunchtime. Down there, you see, this is where people go to relax, whenever they need to get their lunch there, to get their breakfast there. Very good breakfast, very good lunch. We're being well fed here. Something that has also given President Ramaphosa some applause, to say this is well organized. Of course, on the other side there, on my far left, we've got the sitting areas. Whenever the media want to conduct a sit-down interviews, they go over there. But the conference rooms are far away from here. This is why we could not get a guest to come and talk to us here. The conference rooms are far down there. We only go there when asked, told to go there. We don't just go there anytime. So this is where the ministers are in closed door meetings. There was only one open session yesterday where the media was allowed, and today is going to be the closing press conference that's going to be brought here. This is when we're going to be given an outline of what has been agreed. But core in these issues is to make sure there is peace. The humanitarian situations that are faced by different countries, natural disasters, are taken care of by those who can do it. That Africa is not left out when it comes to development, when it comes to issues that pertain humanity. And of course, Ramaphosa emphasizing on the issue of solidarity, to say there is need for each country to watch the back of another country, each individual or each government, to make sure whatever action they do, it does not violate the rights of the other nations, saying that will bring a peaceful world. So we are at the G20 first foreigners meeting that's taking place in South Africa. A lot of other meetings have been lined up. We expect that as time goes on, immediately after this one, there will be a finance meeting where you've got the deputy ministers of finance and of course Reserve Bank governors, officials meeting, also discussing, cracking now on the actual economic issues, the markets, how they are affected by the G20 and all those things. So all the issues are being discussed here. It's just like the United Nations is here in a sense, because everything is on the table and everything is being discussed. And in these 2 days, the ministers have had a lot of meetings, bilateral meetings in the meeting rooms, trying also to catch up and capitalize on this situation, because most countries are here. So foreign ministers that have pending meetings with their colleagues, especially with South Africa, wanting to explain its position on G20 and its position on its laws and position on why it's doing certain things to G20 members. Those meetings are taking place as we talk. But at the end of the day, we're going to give you more stories and telling you exactly the resolutions that are coming out of this meeting. Of course, there's not going to be a document of an agreement that's signed by everybody, but at least resolutions are going to come out as to what's the way forward on the war in DRC, in Ukraine, what's the way forward on climate change, and all other things as they come. So for now, it is time for us to go into the meetings, to start getting more information, and as we close down this day, there's going to be a press conference that's going to be giving us everything that's done, coming to you live from the G20 First Foreign Ministers meeting in Johannesburg. This is Thuso, Khumalo, correspondent here in South Africa.